Everybody, we are one. Everybody, we are one. We are one. We are one.
Welcome to the Hughes Roundtable, everybody. I'm Nina Hughes.
Dominic Carmon.
Michael Hughes.
Michaela Hughes.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are excited that you are with us again today. And as stated, this is Dominic Carmon, and he is going to talk about being vegan in Ohio.
Yeah.
Eating vegan in Ohio, excuse me. So we're talking about food today. And what it does to us, how we view food, and what we think about it. And since Dominic is with us, he's going to share some information with us on vegan. And then I want to read for you food guidelines to live by. Number 1, 95% of food should be plant-based. Eat your largest meal at breakfast, a mid-sized lunch, and a small dinner. Stop eating when you're 80% full. If you need to snack, make it a piece of fruit or a handful of nuts. Cook most of your meals at home and eat with friends and family as much as possible. Eat to live, not live to eat. Out of Proverbs. Do not be gluttonous. Eating should not be your favorite activity, but something you do to maintain your health. Eat to live, not live to eat.
Yeah. Yep. Eat to live, which is a very popular quote, eat to live. Yeah. We thought it was a good idea to bring our friend, now we didn't invite him into the family. Yeah. Dominic Carmon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Who, by the way, was our first subscriber. So, yeah, we want to celebrate him. Yeah, that's what makes him so important to us. And he the one bought in and started supporting us. But guess what? He just so happens to be a person who wants to eat right, basically. Basically, there's a lot of things going on about how you eat, what you should eat, what you should not. But this is his personal journey on how you can see a good, nice, young, strong, young man. And, I like the way you smile. Yep. Our first subscriber, man. Thanks for doing that, man. We sure appreciate it. Yep, he done came out here and you know what? I wanted to say something. This man got horses. He got horses. What's your... That's hard to believe. I was talking to him, what was it, last week?
Yep.
And he was telling me about his horses. What's your horses, man?
Valentino.
You got one horse or two?
Or it's two.
Yeah,
and then the other one is Adara.
Adara.
Yeah.
So you got a male and
A female, yeah.
Yeah. They got a farm, really. I just found out some more stuff about hens and all of that right there. And I really want to say something, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to say it. But the words on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, man, so how you eat?
I'm eating good. I'm trying to eat clean. I think the decision I'm making in a plant basis is pretty clean as it can get. I found out a lot of information on YouTube. There's a lot of vegans on there that post recipes, and one of them was roughly Christina, and she's a raw vegan, and I just
Raw vegan.
Yeah, that's
What's that
basically. It's like basically plant-based fruits and veggies. I think anything over 110 or 18 degrees isn't considered raw, but she basically has a food processor. She spiralizes her cucumbers and squashes and stuff like that. And it's basically, it's a diet that's primarily is going to benefit you if you was living on the coast, like Florida,
okay.
Texas, or out in the tropics. But in the Midwest, since we harvest our food, you know, in the fall, it's one of those things where not too many people want to eat cold food when it's cold outside.
Right.
So that's what a raw vegan is.
Mm.
Me, I try to stick to plant-based. I got into reading labels. I mean, it's some of the recipes that they put and stuff.
Mm.
If I can't read it, I try not to mess with it.
So you understand every ingredient on the back?
Yeah, I look for if it's like milk, eggs, dairy.
That right there, basics.
Yeah, I try to stay away from it. But mostly when I go grocery shopping, I try to stick in the produce section. Typically the mock milks, or nut milks I should say,
Nut milk.
that's going to be over in the dairy department.
Yeah.
But
so you drink soy milk and almond milk? And
I was starting off drinking soy milk, and then eventually I changed to almond milk, and I've tried cashew milk, oat milk. Yeah.
Okay. So are you vegan?
Yeah, for the most part. Like, there's some stuff in my clothing that are not considered vegan because it still has leather in it.
Y'all hear that? That's how deep it is going. Now I wanted to ask you, how did you even start? What made you become a vegan?
I basically, when my sister started to get hens, and I didn't know the anatomy of hens, I didn't know that the eggs come out the same
You can say it.
hole as their
The eggs come out of the same hole as their feces.
Yeah.
You want to clean it up? I wouldn't have cleaned it up, but you want to clean it up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Me either.
So and then also I started finding out that eggs are really high in cholesterol. I mean, they say grass-fed is better for you. Grass-fed hens are better, but I mean, I just didn't want to contribute. And then also I've seen a video of how they manipulate dairy cows for them to produce milk.
I've seen that.
So that was my next thing to cut out of my diet. I mean, I was vegetarian for 6 or 7 years, and that was like in my mid to early 20s when I started doing the vegetarian thing. You know, the vegetarian is like they still consume milk or dairy.
Whoa. So vegetarians is different than vegans?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm a nice sized fella now. So what's the difference?
So the vegetarian, there's like, I think 4 or 6 different types of vegetarian. There are some vegetarians that will eat seafood, and they'll say, oh, I'm still a vegetarian. My thing is, typically vegetarian is, they eat, you know, fruits and veggies, but they still consume milk, eggs, and cheese. They just don't eat like the meats, like the chicken, the red meats, and seafood and stuff like that.
Wow.
So, I've heard of the vegan diet, and I've heard that there were vegans out there that looked malnourished and sickly.
Yeah.
You can actually be a vegan and eat like really bad food, like Oreos.
Oh, they eat a lot of Oreos?
Well, Oreos are vegan. Rather than, if the cream in the Oreos is not actually cream, it's like refined sugar and some processing into it.
Oh,
Yeah, you look at any pack of Oreos, it doesn't say no dairy or anything on it. Yeah. I mean, there's vegans that will eat just like junk food, and they're not getting the proper nutrition, so they look really sickly and undernourished.
They look bluish.
Yeah, really.
And sometimes purplish.
Yeah.
And a fight better not break out.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me. I mean, I ain't trying to make fun of nobody.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying, you know. It's real interesting because, like we were saying earlier, we was getting sick a lot, and we started on what you call eating by our blood type and things of that nature. Going back to, you know, I ain't gonna say that part, but we eating like our blood types and things of that nature. Me and Michaela be talking, and my wife, we be talking about vegans because, you know, sometimes trends come and they get involved in, and now it's trendy to be a vegan.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's trendy to be a vegan. Of course, in Columbus, in Ohio, they got all these pop-up stores now. Well, I ain't gonna call them pop-up. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
TJ, you know TJ, but we can't say it because we ain't got no money.
Yeah.
TJ,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. And then other people's, and then those stores like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got those right there. Michaela, what was you talking about when you was at work about the what y'all going through up there now? How the people at work was talking about vegans and all of that right there.
What were we talking?
You don't remember?
I do. I think we were talking about how it's just kind of hard. Like, it's hard to eat vegan. Like, when you were raised on eating like whatever you want, or even if you're like just raised eating like milk and eggs, like it's hard. I think mostly we were talking about financially, like it's expensive to eat healthy, even if you're not like trying to be vegan or whatever. But like my point was that it's worth it. Like, if you can afford to it, you need to eat better. Like, don't just be eating anything you want to eat because you can, and you can't really use the excuse like we're not kids anymore. Like, you can't just be eating fast food and like eating like you're still in high school, you know, just because it's not as, you know, it's not as convenient as, you know, you want it to be or whatever. So I think that's what we were talking about. Also, people are always talking about like it's not as flavorful, like it's the textures are different and all that type of stuff. I just hate that. Like, that's the reason people don't eat healthy, is because like we try to eat gluten free.
Right.
So like stuff tastes grainy instead of like a nice soft bread or whatever. But I don't think that should stop you from trying.
Right.
Like, so I think that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Some people hate eating healthy.
They do.
Like, they don't even drink water.
They don't drink water. Now we know some people gonna get upset. So what do you say? How have you dealt with people that when you start trying to? Because I try to shy away from that. I just talk about me and what me and my family is doing about how we eat. But it is a sensitive topic.
It is. I mean, at first it's a process. I mean, like you're saying, growing up, I mean, the standard American diet is like a lot of fast food restaurants, high sugars, you know, high oils and stuff like that. It's just like a process, because typically, like in Ohio, it's not tropical. You know, we have, you know, winter, summer, fall, and so on and so forth. But I mean, dealing with people, there's negativity, and then there's some people who's like, oh, you know, I'm gonna stick to what I'm gonna stick to. I think first off, it's like you really should go to a doctor, and you know, have them pull your blood and make sure you're not deficient in anything. You can eat meat, red meat, I mean, and still be deficient in iron. You know. Yeah. When I've had my when I went to the doctor for like a regular checkup, I asked them, can you send my blood to the lab and see if I'm deficient in anything? And she was like, you know, the nurse that was helping me, she said yes. And they sent it to the lab, and she said, you're not deficient in anything. I mean, I used to run, you know, with my cousin some years ago, but as far as dealing with it, that's going to be a process in itself, because it's like you got people that are closed-minded. You got some people say, well, I heard about this. You know, I heard that if I cut out milk, that my bones will get brittle and I'll be like Mr. Glass, or I'll bump into something, I'll fracture. But it's, I mean, it comes back to, you know, consulting a physician, but then also it's trusting a good doctor or physician that's not going to steer you where you have to. They want you to eat red meat and say, yeah, you can eat this much amount of red meat, and then you start developing sicknesses. Well, that's, at the end of the day, it's how they make their money.
Right.
So there are some doctors out there, I hate to say it, but they want to steer you down that sickly path rather than down the path where you're taking less visits to the doctor. That means there's no money in their pocket.
They don't like this family.
No.
Us, they don't.
Right. But yeah, I've dealt with some people saying, you know, oh well, a real man should eat meat, and you're not a real man because you don't hunt. My father wasn't around. I mean, I was raised by my mom. I've hung around a few guys that their dad would take them hunting and stuff like that. I didn't really opt for that, even when I came of age or whatever. I've had a friend that wants me to go hunting with him, and I'm like, I don't like to partake in something like that. But
this ain't 1970.
yeah, it's
2020.
yeah, they
Right.
I think it's they try to tie it into like a heritage thing, which it kind of is, but at the same time we have supermarkets, you know.
Right.
We can go to the supermarket. We're not living in the pioneer days where, you know, they had to hang out on one side of the field and the other friend had to hang out another set or whatever, or they, you know, spear something. But
Right.
yeah, we have supermarkets, but I just try to take it as a grain of salt. I mean, I try to be a vessel and tell them like, hey, well, this is what I do. You can join me, or, you know, maybe talk to a physician and get some clarification. I mean, I think that's the best way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a good conversation about food when we was leaving. I remember that. And I remember, you know, that's why I wanted to have you on. I mean, at least just get started about, you know, because our testimony is we ain't on no medication. And I'm 52. Nina is
53.
And Michaela is, how old are you?
24.
Today?
Yeah.
She's 24. and yeah, we're not on any medication. And like I said, we eat by our blood type, and we don't get sick unless we do, like Thanksgiving or Christmas, slip up and eat too much of that type of, basically really wheat, for me anyway.
Right.
You know, because my diet is totally different than this. But we make it work because we want to have some money.
Yeah.
We don't want to go to get the doctors all our money, like you were saying. So you all right. And to add to that, they do have holistic doctors.
Yeah.
They do that, or that's their degree.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. It's like it seems like the holistic doctors are like the black sheep to the medical field.
It is, yeah.
And then like your regular, I guess your conventional doctors, it's like, no, well, you don't need a holistic doctor. You need me to send you to the pharmacy so you can take these pills and then have another set of pills. And then it's like our own, you know, higher ups, it's like they're the biggest drug dealers, because it's like they have the drug commercials and they say, well, the side effects is this, that, and this. And I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta take this pill and I'm gonna have a side effect, and I gotta take another pill for that side effect.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it just keeps on stacking up. And it's like, I thought it was comical at first when I would see commercials like that. And the more I started seeing those commercials, I'm like, you mean to tell me a doctor that has been in school for 8 to 10 years and they have continuing education, they can prescribe you for high blood pressure, but then when you start having irregular bowel movements, they have to prescribe you another drug, and it's like you steadily going downhill. I hear so many people that say, oh yeah, the doctor gave me blood thinners, and I'm on blood thinner, and it makes them woozy, and they're falling out or falling all over. It was a customer on my old route. He bumped his arm, and he had like a scrape, and I'm like, hey, you realize your arm is bleeding? He was like, oh yeah, I'm on blood thinners, and he was walking, his wife came out to get him. I'm like, I don't want to be that at that age and relying on medication to, you know, from a doctor that's giving me another medication.
Right.
It's really, I mean, there was a saying, I believe, by Socrates, where he said, let thy food be thy medicine, meaning, you know, your food is your medicine. There was a book I've seen where they was talking about certain fruits and vegetables look like parts of the human body, like a carrot looks like the eye, cauliflower kind of looks like your brain, and celery is like, looks like the vessels, and then like spinach is, if you turn it over, it looks like veins. So it's something that I'm really, I really like. It's just ultimately it's like you're lied to from the doctor just because they have a degree. It's like they're lying to you. Our great grandparents, they say if anything has more than 2 or 3, maybe 4 ingredients, it's just probably not best to eat, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
And plus, they don't drink water.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
You see me every morning getting my water. If you want to know what my cues is, even though I don't drink, because I've been accosted at the job for getting too much water.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna take all the water, Dominic. It ain't fair.
I know that's right.
So go ahead, baby.
I'd like to ask about, while we're talking about the health and not being on medications and everything, you said you've been a vegetarian 6 years prior to or so. What changes have you seen in yourself, maybe mind-wise, body-wise? What transformation did you go through after you stopped? Once you started a new way of eating, what took place with you?
When I was, I will say when I started doing the vegetarian thing, I started being a little bit more alert. It seemed like I was like more on point and in tune with stuff. But then it was times where it was like I was sleepy still. So it could have been the dairy. I mean, cheese, like at the time, like I grew up eating cheese or whatever. So it was like maybe the cheese wasn't cutting it for me. But that was one of the main things. I mean, I had a hard time drinking 8 glasses of water a day, but I think with that diet, I was alert, but then there was times where I was like sleepy, And then now that I'm doing this vegan plant-based diet, it was like I'm a little bit more alert and a lot less sleepy. If I'm getting my 8 hours of sleep, I'm fine, everything's regulated, but. Eating like the standard American diet, I mean, my stepdad, we would eat out like Mark Pies, Burger King, McDonald's, and he would get like a value meal and then get a Big Mac for work, pack for the next day. When I was eating the standard American diet, I had shortness of breath. I wouldn't say I was completely overweight, but I was getting there. And then I wasn't with it. I mean, I had a hard time focusing in school, but that was pretty much the main key pointers were when I started, as I started getting older, I started hearing about different diets and stuff, and the vegan diet I heard about in high school, and I was like, what is that? And at that time, it was, vegans, they're pushy, and they're really, extreme, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I'm not going to even go down that road or whatever. So I started doing the vegetarian diet. I've noticed a lot of females, they typically sway towards a vegetarian diet. There's times when I'm in Chipotle and there's a girl in front of me and she was ordering a beef burrito and it's like 1 protein, and she's like, no, I don't want no meat, and she goes down and gets salsa or whatever. I'm like, okay, well.
But ain't beans protein though?
Yeah, beans are protein. That's another thing is with plant-based diet, they're saying that there's not enough protein in it, but if you think about it, cows, they eat grass all day.
Yeah.
They fortify their grain with B12, so you're getting B12 and fortified vitamins through third party because they have to kill the cow for you to get it from their meat. Where in actuality, you can actually there's vitamins, and then there's vegetables that you can get your proteins and vitamins from and nutrients. So.
Yeah. But what about when they say I'm hungry all the time? I'm hungry.
That's that's
that's a problem. I'm so hungry.
Yeah, that's I think that's the thing. That's another thing. It's like your body starting to detox. It was like my body started to detox where it was like I would eat something and and I'm like, I still feel kind of hungry, and then I don't think I ate enough. And the amount of food I was eating from one diet was the equivalent to a plant-based diet, but it was like my body was used to eating, animal products.
Yeah.
So it's like my body's trying to adjust to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that you should eat for your type or for your weight and what you do. So I typically try to eat a bigger portion, if I had a lot of walking or whatever, or a lot of strenuous activity, so I can burn off the calories.
Yeah.
But
so you don't have a lot of walking around in your routes?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's the one time I tried, I got like I had a dinner size plate of spinach, and it was like full of spinach.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I made some quinoa, and I couldn't even finish the whole plate. So it was like that right there.
So did you put it up?
I did. I wrapped it
You
up.
weren't hungry an hour later?
No.
You weren't?
No. There's been times when I got home, I think probably because of the time of the day I ate, it was like 9 o'clock in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I would eat like a dinner size plate, I had like maybe a couple of sticks of carrots and then some spinach and some quinoa. I tried to stretch it out. I wouldn't be able to, finish that whole entree. And I'm like, geez, I thought if I was eating plant-based, I would have to eat more to be equivalent of a value meal from McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case. You can actually fill up on a fair size amount of plant-based dishes.
So in that quinoa and spinach, you got any onion in there?
What you
actually put in your spinach?
I put a couple seasonings
You did?
in there, salad dressings. Every now and then I do use onion powder. I love onion powder.
So you like sauces?
Yeah, I do.
Look at them like sauces
I
too.
make everything better.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, we on the lines. We love that quinoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and all of that right there. But once again, we wanted to bring Dominic on to get into being a vegan,
Mm-hmm.
and talk about and just shine some light on being a vegan. Tell me about that story you had when you were eating all the trail mixes and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I used to be really big into eating trail mix because, the peanuts and the sunflower seeds and stuff. I was eating about like a 5-pound bag of trail mix, and wasn't drinking enough water. So when I would go to the bathroom to move my bowels, I would see I would have like blood on the tissue paper. I thought I was developing a form of colon cancer. Come to find out, it was my bowels didn't have enough water. I wasn't drinking enough water behind the trail mix for it to break down. So I had a colonoscopy done, and the doctor said I had a clean bill of health. I wasn't drinking enough water. But I slowed up on eating trail mix. I still love it. It's just that I keep in the back of my mind, if I'm gonna eat trail mix, especially in the summertime, because it's going to be hot out.
Yeah.
Try to drink enough water behind it so it can break down in my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, I still say that when you dove this information we're putting out, food, man, it's hard to talk to people about food, especially us, because of where we came from and what we ate. But there are people moving away into a better eating, because if you keep getting your money taken, because you keep getting sick, the first thing is to check what you're eating.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. As always, we thank you for sharing, supporting, and subscribing. Remember to share this with your friends and your family, and hopefully this video can encourage you to eat healthy and give you some new ideas on how to achieve your goals. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.